I better be outside to meet the buses. Have a great one, Sue. You too, Mrs. Brisbane said. Who did belong in room 26, but she was nowhere in sight. Now I'll get to take you home one weekend, Simon announced. Go back to your own room. You'll be late, I warned him. Mrs. Brisbane told him to take a seat. Simon twirled around and rushed away, bumping right into a girl with bright red hair whose chair was sticking out in the aisle. You should be more careful, Kelsey said. You ran into me. The girl rubbed her arm. She probably got a big bruise. Ouch! What's happening? Just doesn't make sense, I told Og. I don't think I was making a lot of sense either. It was as if the world had just been turned all upside down and Og and I were the only ones that noticed. Hi, Humphrey, a soft voice said. I looked up and there was Paul Fletcher, whom I was thought of as Small Paul. He was the boy who came in for math class every day last year because he was unscrupably good with numbers. Paul was smart. I knew he'd understand. Why are these students in the wrong room? I asked. He pushed up his glasses, which had slid down his nose. This year I can get to take you home, he said. I can't wait. What was he talking about? Only students in room 26 got to take me home for the weekend. Settle down, class, Miss Brisbane said. Please take your seats. Class? What was he talking about? This wasn't my class. Where were AJ and Garth, Heidi and Mandy? Where were Gail and her giggles? Where were Richie, Art, Tobias, and Seth? Where were Kirk and his jokes? And where in the world was the most perfect golden Miranda? Miss Brisbane, I squeaked. In case you haven't noticed, this isn't our class. Miss Brisbane was too busy counting the students to hear me. Here, we're short on one student, she said. But while we're waiting, let me welcome you all to room 26. Crushed, I scrambled back down to the floor of my cage and scurried into sleeping hut where I could be alone and sang. I remembered that poem I just written about summer. Now I had an idea for a new verse. Summer, oh summer, with days long and days. Now that you're over, things are going crazy. Humphrey's rules of school. Before you take your seat in the classroom, it's always a good idea to make sure you're in the right room. This is important. Chapter 2. The worst day gets worse. The final bell rang and everyone had taken their seat except the girl in a wheelchair who was already sitting. There was still one empty chair left. Miss Brisbane went to the door and locked out into the hall. Oh, there you are, she said. She opened the door wider and a boy walked in. You must be the missing student, Miss Brisbane said. I'm not missing, the boy answered. I'm right here. I thought he'd be in trouble, so I was surprised when Miss Brisbane smiled and directed him to an empty chair. Then she stood in the front of the class. I had one of the best classes ever, but I think this class would be even better. Better, I squeaked. That was the best class in the whole wide world. Boing, boing, all agreed. I wasn't sure what I said was true. On the one paw, I couldn't imagine a better class than the one we had. Last year, on the other paw, it was the only class I'd ever been in. But where had been my classmates gone? I'm going to rearrange the seating later in the day, Miss Brisbane said. But for now, I'll take attendance. Are you listening, Og? I asked my neighbor. I can never be sure because he doesn't have any ears that I've ever seen. But he sometimes to understand me most of the time. Are we dreaming? I wondered. So far, the morning felt like one of those dreams where everything seems almost the same as it is in real life, but a lot weirder. For instance, I once had a dream where all of my human friends were rolling around in the giant hamster balls. That was a very fun dream. Once I dreamed that the class was being taught by Miss Wright, the PE teacher. That wasn't a funny dream because she was always blowing on her very loud whistle, which is painful to the small, sensitive ears of a hamster. Again, Og didn't answer me. Maybe frogs don't dream. Then Mrs. Brisbane began to call out the strange words she had been saying before. It turns out they were names. Kelsey, Kirk, Patrick. Here, the red-haired girl said, still rubbing her arm. Harry Ito, Miss Brisbane called out. Harry was the boy who had been late to class. She called on Simon, who answered, Present. Present? I didn't see any presents. Was it somebody's birthday? Thank you for reading that part, and we will be back with you later. Bye!